Hello, and welcome to Things You Didn't Ask For and Didn't Need to Know, where us three guys talk about random stuff. This week we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a thing called Room 101, where, if anyone doesn't know it, Room 101 originally was something in George Orwell's 1984, but then it was, I think, co-opted by British television for a show about people bringing in stuff they wanted to get rid of out of the world, and Frank Skinner would decide whether or not they would go. So we all have our own little subjects, and we're all going to talk about that. But I think first we'll do our usual little bit of talking about some random stuff, yeah?
Yes, indeed.
I'm Barry.
I'm Donal.
And I'm Mart.
So I'll start, if you guys don't mind.
Please do.
Excellent. The first thing I have for us this week is you guys have watched police procedurals on television, right?
Yes.
So-
And the first episode of Agatha All Along.
Oh, I haven't seen any of that. So we've all seen the scene where the policeman says to the coroner, the detective says to the coroner, "How long did they die? Give me a time of death, god damn it," kind of
While
thing.
in the corner, while eating a sandwich.
While eating a sandwich, presumably, yeah. Well, I was reading up on it this week about the different methods that they actually use to figure out time of death and how long
Grim.
someone has been dead in general. And some of the things they do are just like, ew. So, do you want to hear some of the things they do?
Absolutely.
Not really, but go on anyway.
Anyone, if you're eating your dinner while listening to this podcast, I apologize. So one of the first ones, counting maggots, if they've been dead quite a while.
Oh, dang.
They can tell exactly how long someone's been dead. Well, close enough, depending on the number of maggots that have.
Is there a sequential kind of growth level of maggots?
There is, yeah. So they know the life. They know the creatures that inhabit a corpse, and they know their life cycle. So they know, this creature is in this phase, which only happens X amount of time after it's been in the body. So they count maggots. Another one is, we've seen, the one they show mostly on TVs is them stabbing a thing into the liver to get the liver temperature, a thermometer into the liver, and the temperature of the liver tells them. But the other way they can do it is with the rectal temperature. Yeah. So you're presumably, you haven't died in a hospital bed and peacefully surrounded by your family. There's some foul play involved, and even after you're dead,
It's about to get more foul.
it's about to get worse. They're going to stick a thermometer up your ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like the first time we were like 1 minute in and we've already reached new lows for this podcast.
Yeah. Also, another one they use, how the face muscles react to electrocution. So they will actually...
Oh, for rigor mortis.
Yeah, they will actually... I don't know if it's rigor mortis, but it's definitely something on those lines where they poke the face with electricity to see how it reacts. And then my favourite one is poking a needle in the eyeball. Yeah. I think the eyeball loses a certain amount of bounce or rigidity after death, so they know when they poke a needle in how far it goes before...
I always think, you know how normal people, which is mostly everyone, goes through your normal life and everything is normal. But if you work in a job like that, how do you see other people?
It's actually funny you say that, Mart, because I've actually thought before, being can job, Ashin, what job is that?
Coroner.
Corner.
I often thought being a coroner wouldn't be a bad job.
It'd be awful.
You'd be awful.
It would be awful. It'd be a terrible.
No, it would be awful.
job.
I'm saying it would skew your view of
No, it wouldn't skew my
life
view.
and humanity.
Like it would
Like you're
give
seeing
you
the worst. You're seeing like as a coroner, you have to go to drownings, people who have been in the ocean for 5 weeks or two months or 10 years. Do you know, you're talking about murders. You're talking about horrible things to people of all ages.
That's just more like if you're a guard or something where you're seeing the worst of humanity. But I'm talking about something different. I'm saying, imagine when you said sticking a needle in someone's eye and everyone was like, oh, God, gross. Imagine if, that's my job. I do it every day. So what?
Yeah.
If, I don't know, that's got to change you somehow.
Probably. I think every job
Just
changes.
feels screwy.
So
Yeah.
the other thing they do as well, which is the least horrible of all of these, is hitting the muscles with a hammer. So, yeah.
I'm presuming it's not the funny tap on the knee and wait for the leg to pop up.
Although that would be hilarious. That would be the perk of the job. You're like, hey, new guy, stand there for a second. Like, kicked in the face.
No, there was you were saying, Mart, about the job of a coroner, but it's like the state coroner that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's retired, Mary.
Oh, I can't remember. My brain still has John Harveston, I think was his name.
Yeah.
That was back when we had one state pathologist.
Well,
I think
she
we
was
had, like, 3 or
she
4.
was brought in
Mary
as the
Cassidy?
second.
No.
No. I tried to look it up, but I can't find it. But she was brought in as the second coroner. But then she was on a show where she was talking about she was on I think a program on RT. She was talking about like all the horrific stuff that she saw. It's like it is. You do definitely see messed up stuff.
Oh, yeah, the worst.
Obviously,
Absolute worst.
like yeah.
Gotta be easier ways of earning money.
Yeah, but if you're into that,
If you're into that
there's
sort of
nothing
thing.
more interesting.
I mean, if you're a messed up psycho and you want to see all this messed
No,
up stuff,
geez, you can't
hey,
call.
great.
Well, I mean, let's say
I'm not saying
for
that
for
they're
all the
psychos or
coroners that
anything.
are
Not all
listening
of
to us,
all of our corner listener base, which
it's like
we don't want to offend them and put them off.
but no, I wouldn't say it's messed up. I'd say it's like because it's just another part of being a doctor. They need to be doctors as well.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
like you know.
Now, are you guys familiar with erasers?
Eraser, as in what would be known in our childhood, although now humorously stated as a rubber.
Yes, a rubber.
Although, do you mean the duo band from the 1980s,
No, I don't. I mean the thing you used.
Okay.
To
or were they a
Do
trio?
you remember the red and blue erasers in particular?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so the given is the red side is for rubbing out pencil on paper. What is the blue side for?
I just assumed it was all for rubbing out pencil on paper.
But why is there 2 different sides?
I don't know.
To make it colourful, more
design?
appealing to chew.
I never ever expended any thought on this ever.
Wait a second, actually. Now that I think about it, wasn't one rougher than the other?
Yes.
More rough, even
Yeah,
to rub up biro.
that's what 99% of people I think would say. Yeah, the blue side, the red side's for rubbing out pencil, the blue side's for rubbing out biro. Turns out the red side's for rubbing out pencil on paper, the blue side's for rubbing out pencil on thicker paper, which is something I never knew.
Oh,
I didn't ask to know that either.
Yeah. This would have been really useful 40 years ago
Would it though?
when this was actually in play.
When did you, even
Well, it's
40 years
true,
ago, write on slightly thicker paper?
Good point.
I have no, and I think it's something to do with the red one would wear out faster if you were using it on thicker paper.
what?
Yeah.
It's like
The engineering that went into those things.
Curse
for no
you,
reason.
600
some
gram
engineer
per
is somewhere,
square
some
inch.
inventor is somewhere going, nobody ever appreciates me as he drinks another shot of whiskey. And finally, you guys have both seen The Office, US?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Do you remember the episode where they were learning CPR?
Yes.
I'm going to say no.
No, okay.
vaguely,
There's an
yeah.
episode they were learning CPR, and Michael Scott, they got carried away with the lady was telling them to do it to the beat of Staying Alive, and then they all got carried away and started singing along. Farcical as The Office is. There was a gentleman who is no relation to the fictional character, but his name was Cross Scott. He found a woman in a car, she wasn't moving, she wasn't breathing, and he remembered that episode of The Office,
No way.
pulled her out of the car, was staying alive. Ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Gave her CPR and revived her.
Really?
Yep.
That's gas.
A comedy show, a farcical comedy show, saving someone's life.
I'd say there's loads of stories like that because I
Probably
don't.
tons.
I think I nearly might have even said it on this podcast, but I remember. Do you remember the video game America's Army?
Yes.
It's basically your standard first-person shooter like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or any of them. But America's Army was
Was it hyper-realistic kind of thing?
hyper-realistic
Not
and it
graphically,
was
obviously.
free. So you could go and buy all these other ones, or you can play this one for free. And, the graphics were decent. And because it was... And by the way, I should say, it was funded directly by the US military.
I was going to say, is it a recruitment tool?
And
It was, yeah,
It
100%.
was basically,
Yeah.
but it's interesting. In Counter Strike, you're like you'll either be one of the like SAS guys, or you'll be a terrorist.
Yeah, you're terrorist or counter-terrorist. yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and in America's Army, because they could never, the U.S. military would never make a game where you are shooting at U.S. soldiers. So what they did is, everyone on either side would see the other side as the terrorists. So you're always going to be a U.S. Army soldier guy. And the other people, because it's multiplayer, they're all players in there. They look like enemies to you. But anyway, because I remember years ago I started playing it back in the days when we used to play Counter Strike a lot. But it was, Counter Strike. I'm going to pick a Desert Eagle or an AK-47. This is like, nope. Whatever gun you want to pick, you have to go to the training range, learn gun safety. Go through the little course in game before you can use any gun. But one of the things in it as well is you could be a medic and you'd get some basic medic training. But some guy who, I think his flatmate or something had some heart attack or something happened to him, And from whatever little medical training he learned from that video game, he was able to help his flatmate and keep him alive until the ambulance arrived or something. I remember just thinking, wow, what a crazy world we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only positive things happen when you play video games.
Yes, totally.
What do you guys got?
Donald, do you want to go ahead?
No, go on. Yeah, shoot.
Okay. I'm going to come up with a random fact that I heard during this week about the Ukraine war.
Oh, okay.
According to British intelligence, I guess, this is something that the Ukrainians... Sorry, well, what the Ukrainians report of soldiers that they lost, and there's a difference between soldiers who die, like in military parlance, a casualty is a soldier who is dead, or a soldier who's injured and has to come out from the war. But we're talking here of actual dead.
Okay.
D-E-D, dead. And the Ukrainians
KIA,
claim...
as they say.
Yeah, exactly. The Ukrainians claim that they lost 31,000 soldiers. Now,
So far, is it?
so far. And everyone acknowledges, realistically, that's probably definitely an undercount. So it's not 31,000, it's probably more. Surely it's more. Guess how many the Russians have lost, according to British intelligence?
Well, considering that Putin is doing a flaming Zach Brannigan on it, I would
Try
say...
wave after wave.
Yeah, I would say 120. No, I have no idea.
Yeah,
120 came to mind, but I'm going to say 60.
Okay.
60 soldiers.
No, 60,000.
I'm joking. I know.
Yeah, you can name
We lost our
name
best
them,
59
Donald.
men.
I'm going to go with closer to Donald's original estimate there, but I'm going to up it a little bit. I'm going to go crazy and say 150,000 soldiers.
Over 500,000.
Oh, I wanted to swear there.
I mean, like the Americans in 10 years, was it 20 years of Afghanistan, which was a catastrophe. I don't know exactly, it's like 20,000 or something that they lost.
Wow.
In 20 years.
Yeah, it was
To lose
500,000.
over 500,000, and that's dead. There's way, way, way more injured and, mutilated and gone back. It's just unbelievable. It's literally like, what is it now? Is it 2 years worth of, it's like 2 years of Stalingrad. It's just, how are they, I don't know, the Russians are just so different. In
Determined.
How they fight.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. It's awful. Anyway. So anyway, that's one random fact that I heard.
Yeah, that's insane.
But from death to life.
Yes.
That was a completely unplanned segue.
Nice.
I'm quite proud of it. No, there's something else I heard. I'm sure you know what IVF is.
Yep.
Yes.
In vitro fertilization, where you're basically growing a kid by, artificial means. If a couple has any difficulties and, they do it whatever way they do it. There's a new thing called IVG. Did you hear of it? I literally only heard of it. I'm going to see what it is.
In vitro germination.
You're very close. In vitro, I'm going to say this wrong. In vitro gametogenesis. And what it is it allows doctors to create reproductive cells from any cell taken from your body.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, pluck out someone's hair or get some random skin cells, and you can actually literally make a baby out of it.
Wow.
So that is amazing, because it means,
That's a game
for
changer.
example, a gay couple can have a child themselves without having to involve any other third parties or anything. And there's big
Taking
funding.
the fun out of everything.
Yeah, there's big funding going into it from, Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI.
Yes.
Like ChatGPT, of that ChatGPT fame. He's funding loads of money in it. Loads of people like that are. It's amazing when I heard about it. I was like, wow.
That is.
You'll have to explain to me what that ChatGPT thing is. I have no idea.
I know. I'm trying to stamp down on always going on about AI.
That's amazing, though. I mean, that's like, I remember, this is years ago. I'd say over 10 years ago, I remember reading, they were talking about stem cell research and stuff like that. And they were saying, we're not that far away from being able to take stem cells from anywhere and embed them in your gum if you're, if you're missing a tooth or whatever, and the new tooth will just grow there.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, that's amazing. Like, people in accidents or people who are older or whatever that have no teeth, and they could just literally go and you just grow new teeth.
Yeah, that's what amazes me about stem cells.
Although that was 10 years ago. Where the hell is it?
Well, it's here. I didn't know anything really. I knew the whole big deal of stem cells because like the Catholic Church was against it and all this kind of stuff. But then one day I was like, of all the talk of it, I don't even know really what it is. And I looked into it, and it is basically like magic gel. Yeah. If you have any wound anywhere of any sort at all, put this magic gel on it, and like Star Trek, it'll just heal.
Yeah. But no,
Literally, that's what it does.
But where is it? Why,
It adapts to whatever.
Why can't we go to the dentist and say, "Hey, dude, I'm missing this tooth and that tooth. Fix me up."
Barry, because you're poor.
Oh, maybe.
Like, you know, Mel Gibson.
Maybe.
Mel Gibson
Oh.
famously, his dad was like, I don't know, 89 or something and ailing and poor, poor health kind of and sick. And Mel Gibson was like, yeah, go down to Mexico, just do loads of stem cell stuff there. Hey, presto alakazam. New dad, all fit and healthy.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But the thing is, you say, where is it?
It's in Mexico.
It's repressed in a lot of countries because of it being evil, according to the church. But otherwise than that, you just need loads of money. And the only reason that Mel Gibson would go to Mexico is it was just easily available there for him. But I mean, I'm sure Europe is probably less, repressed about it. But then also, you still need loads of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just need to find some money, grow some teeth.
Well, yeah, for example, you could, yeah. But in other news, I heard a funny story. There's a guy, right? You know all this thing, and I know I said I wouldn't talk about AI, but he used AI to make loads of songs, right?
Okay.
Which is no big deal. Anyone can do that now, and it's really easy. But he used AI to make loads of songs, and then he uploaded them all on Spotify.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, who's going to listen to them? And the way Spotify works, you don't get paid unless a lot of people pay for your songs. So he then bought a bunch of email addresses, set up a bunch of Spotify accounts for each different email address, and used all these fake accounts to play all of his songs, and he made 10 million quid.
Fair play.
Okay, wait, I'm waiting for the...
Well,
Gotcha.
the fact that I'm telling you this,
Yeah,
he obviously got caught. There's probably someone who
got
did all
caught?
this, and I'm not telling you about it because I don't know.
And
he
I
got away
wonder,
with it.
is that some way not allowed?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean,
Why?
honestly, I guess there's probably something in Spotify's terms of service that
I was
say
gonna say, it's gotta be
if
a
you're
terms of
going to
service thing.
upload crap and then create loads of fake accounts and play that crap just to extract money out of us because you're gaming the system. I'm sure that they put some one-liner in that contract or small print somewhere to say, by the way, down with that sort of thing.
The end user agreement that he just clicked. I agree without reading it.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought that was really funny, but
Yeah, that's
he got
interesting.
caught, you know.
That's a pity.
It's one of those things, though, right? I always marvel at this. If you're doing something and think, oh my God, this is working and getting away with it, anything you do online or, you're leaving,
There's a trace.
trace everywhere. If you break into a bank and get loads of cash and drive away with it, if you get away with it, well, you have that money now. But if you break into a digital bank, unless you're really good at using VPNs and some way of deleting log files and all this kind of crap, you're leaving traces everywhere. You might be, I got away with it and it's a year later. All of those things, if some cyber forensics looks into it, they're going to trace it right back to your doorstep. It's like, how do people think they're going to get away with this stuff?
But I suppose he probably thought maybe this is against the rules, but how against the rules?
Well, yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I guess.
He created music. He put it on a platform that plays music, and then he
played
got,
it.
He just created loads of fans to listen to it.
created loads of
He
fans.
created America.
But I mean, is there any difference between that and somebody going and paying a bot farm or these click farms or whatever you call them, where you pay people to look at your content or to like your content and stuff like that? Is there any difference?
I'm going to say no, not really, and possibly that's all illegal too, though. I don't know. I mean, it's not illegal. It's against the terms of service, I guess. So if you manage to...
So was he just kicked off the service and sued for the money?
I actually don't know what penalty he got, but I'm sure that they took his 10 million off him or whatever it was.
I can't imagine getting arrested for it. That's the thing, like.
Oh, no. Sorry. When I say it, I'm sure it wasn't actually illegal. There's no law of the land because all the laws are always so far behind anything, any technical anything. And there's one other thing I heard recently. I don't know, probably a month ago now, there was a Apple Expo where they reveal all their new toys and stuff like that. One of the things they did is, the Apple AirPods. I have kind of cheap knockoff versions from Huawei, and they're actually really amazingly good.
Yeah,
But
Huawei are a brilliant brand.
Yeah, they are, if you don't mind the Chinese spying on what you're doing. But the new Apple things, the AirPods, they work as hearing aids as well.
Okay.
So they can pick up noise from outside and amplify it for you if you want. Now, it's not probably as good as, say, if you went and bought dedicated hearing aids, but dedicated hearing aids are like $6,000. So if you were to buy these AirPods, they might be 50% or 80% as good, depending on your level of hear loss. Hey, Perso, that's really cool.
That actually is pretty good.
Yeah, so I kind of have a ton of other stuff, but I know that we have a main episode to go, and I can talk about all this next time.
Yeah, save some.
Yeah.
Donald, what do you got?
So for me, the thing that I found really interesting in the last while was the Starship booster being caught recently. Did you hear
Oh,
that?
the chopsticks.
The
catch.
chopsticks. Did
Oh
you hear that?
yeah. You were telling me. Yeah.
Have you seen it? Or did you see it?
No.
Okay, so basically, it's they SpaceX have built this tower that's taller than the Eiffel Tower.
Statue of Liberty, I think, wasn't it?
It's taller than Statue of Liberty, actually. You're right. It's taller than Statue of Liberty, and there's these two claws on it that catch a building-sized spaceship that falls from the sky from 23,000 kilometers an hour. It falls down into, obviously by the time it's come down, it slows down to mere hundreds of kilometers an hour, and then when it's right close to the end, the booster fires up, and they caught it on a few days ago, which is
This would
amazing.
have absolutely blown my mind to hear this, but you just told me all this yesterday off the podcast. You should have been like, no, save it.
Yeah, but
I actually heard this on the podcast I was listening to today, and they actually played a bit of the sound of it when it was coming back down. It broke the sound barrier or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Sonic
constantly.
booms.
You hear the
It was
boom,
like
boom, 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 boom,
coming
yeah.
down. It was like, holy crap! A building-sized rocket is flying down out of the sky, doing sonic booms, and they're going to grab it.
yeah.
It's
So, Mart,
crazy.
It's insane.
It's
Just two
crazy.
two arms.
but Mart, to put it into perspective from an Irish point of view, do you know the Liberty Hall in Dublin?
Mm-hmm.
That's 60 meters tall. Okay, it's 59 meters tall.
Mm-hmm.
The Starship building that they caught, the booster, is 70 meters.
Bloody hell! That would be spectacular to see.
Oh yeah.
Like to see if you were there. Seeing it on TV is like,
And I mean, and that's the exciting thing for me from hearing about that or witnessing it or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. This thing happening. To me, the exciting thing is that the kind of next logical step really is that, okay, once they're really good at it and they can do it consistently, and the next one could explode, might not work, but once they consistently are able to do that, it means that they can start bringing things out into space, leaving it there, coming back, getting some more stuff, bringing it and back and forth, because
That's the idea. Yep.
the big problem with space exploration, of course, is trying to get a huge spaceship that can hold all the stuff that we'll need for a long journey, and fuel and food and all the
Yeah.
rest of it, on a spaceship, and still be able to have that spaceship powerful enough to leave Earth. So
Yeah.
if you can build the spaceship in space already, or near enough to it, the upper atmosphere, whatever
Yeah.
you call it, and then just cart all the stuff up
now
to
you're
it.
going full Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly.
But geez, it is, when you think of it, it's such a waste of what they used to do before. Like if you see any old footage of the Apollo
Launches,
missions, or
yeah.
whatever,
Well-
you could see it like falling off and burning in the
But
atmosphere.
Mart, what's
It's like,
really disappointing is, like, Starship 5 years ago, I think they started building the first kind of Starship hopper, they call it, which is the first, like, little piece of the, like, the way when they're learning how to fly a bit of the ship up in the air, they call it a hopper, basically. So basically, in a few years, SpaceX built this Starship. And it's almost good enough to go now, almost good enough to go up to the moon. Okay.
It makes you wonder what NASA would have achieved had they kept the same level of funding they had for the moon landing prior to the moon. The funding they had prior to the moon landing. If they'd kept that level of funding,
Well, there's
From then on.
literally no doubt we'd
that's
have colonies
what
on the
breaks
moon
your
and
heart.
on Mars.
Yeah. If you think of all the money that's wasted on, I'm going to say on military stuff, but specifically think of, like, at one point, I think between America and Russia, they had, like, I think America had 29,000 nuclear missiles, all of them needing to be built and then maintained forevermore. Russia had like 35,000 nuclear missiles. All that money, all that resource, all that time and effort, and all the scientific minds put to work at it, if they could just not do that, what
Can't
else
we all
would
just get
humanity?
along?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. it's
do you
just-
know? I honestly believe what needs to happen is the Mars rover, spinning around on Mars there doing its thing, goes, "Hey guys, Houston, I just found oil."
Oh,
Like lots of it, and it's like it seems to be like double potent oil. So each little
but
bit of it is twice as powerful.
You
as-
don't need, like, already that space race has begun
Yeah.
with the moon.
Yeah.
With the moon, because I'm going to say we, because I'm very anti-Chinese politics.
I was going to say you're anti-Chinese, but you're Mr. Communist at the same time. Oh yeah, America.
America.
Just for the listeners, I'm pointing out that Dolan has the American flag on his shoulder today.
Well,
So go on. Sorry, tell us why you're racist against the Chinese.
because they're run by a ridiculous communist regime. Their government
Well,
is
basically, they're run by a
ridiculous.
dictatorship. Yeah.
Yeah, they're run by a dictatorship. So
That's how you get things done.
it's how you get tofu buildings done. So do you know what tofu buildings are?
No.
Okay, so will I?
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah, a
can't leave
quick
that hanging
synopsis.
there.
Okay, quick synopsis. So basically, if you make tofu, you get rice. You get like proteins, and you kind of mash them together, and you end up with this gunky thing, protein. Tofu.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what tofu is. It's kind of like
No,
this
but
spongy type.
Yeah, but it's
tasteless
but it's relevant because then you take out the tofu, and there's always like bits left.
Is this
Okay.
is this the production process of
This is
tofu?
the production process of actual real tofu.
Okay, yeah.
No, but
Right, yeah.
but you're left with this crap basically at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, presumably people throw that out. Presumably, Chinese buildings the Chinese building industry has been so wrought with corruption, and there's so much flimming stupid things going on in it that you have buildings that people have been recorded leaning up against banisters and the concrete banisters, and like the banister just falls over, or people kind of being able to put their fist through a wall because behind it there's like a tiny millimeter or two of plaster, and then there's like airboard behind it, that type of thing. Just like buildings that literally just fall apart. It's like tofu, and they're called tofu dreg buildings. They're made of tofu dregs.
But they're not actually literally made of a tofu dreg. That's just a kind of a insulting,
just an insulting
term
slang.
to describe it. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like, to go back to what we were just talking about, that's what happened to the Russian military. Well, other than terrible like leadership and everything. But the corruption was so through the whole thing that it's just left them, when they went into a real war, completely unprepared.
They went to get in their tanks to attack the Ukraine and realised they were just plastic.
Well, no, but there was literally things like, the tank that was meant to have a big armor plating in the front just didn't, because it cost more. So they just
It's painted
Some-
the cardboard,
yeah.
painted silver,
not literally, but
faster,
not far
painted
off.
gunmetal grey.
But Mart, you mentioned
These are airsoft guns.
you mentioned really quickly that it was ridiculous the way that before this rockets were just blown up, and they wouldn't
Oh,
be
yeah,
recovered.
yeah.
So what's really disappointing from a European point of view is the ESA, the European Space Agency, have the Ariane, I think it's the Ariane 5 rocket, and the Ariane 5 rocket is the brand new rocket that we have.
Oh, we had this conversation on a podcast episode recently.
Okay,
where
well, yeah.
you were kind of saying, why
It sounded familiar.
why is the European one kind of still disposable? Why don't they just do
Yeah.
what SpaceX
Yeah.
are doing? And Barry, you were saying, well, it's kind of not that easy to. You're so far along a planning process to go back a decade and just start from scratch.
It just sucks.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
which is
it's
finished,
just a bummer when you look at like what the Starship can do, and when you look at what the
But I also think there's probably space for both.
Well, realistically, I'd say what'll happen
See what I did
is,
there? See what I did there?
space.
space.
oh, where's that? Ba-dum-tsh.
Thank you.
But I do think obviously, say when the ESA are revisiting, doing some new model rocket, they're gonna copy SpaceX.
Oh, I know
Obviously,
they
have
will.
to.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an obvious, inevitable way to go. But just
Obviously, the Chinese.
SpaceX are just miles ahead.
Obviously, the Chinese are copying exactly what SpaceX are doing.
Literally, as in they had
Yeah.
spies who stole the information and sent it back
But
to the Communist Party.
let me think. Then what else did I have? Oh yeah, that's nothing. Did you see the taxis from Tesla?
No,
They have like they're
are they self-driving?
self-driving to the degree where at the moment there's only the regular taxi car that they have only has 2 seats in it, but there's no steering wheel, no brakes, there's no handle to open the door, there's
Now, when you say there's no brakes, there's no brake pedal.
no brake pedal.
Yeah, sorry, that's important.
The cover, the car, like the computer's doing everything.
And is this deployed in a live environment anywhere?
No, they think that Elon Musk said, basically, bearing in mind it's Elon time, as they call it, that it'll be out in, I think, 2 years.
I've learned something about Elon Musk. Now, he's a very controversial figure, and I still think, by the way, we should do an episode
will
about
have
Elon
an
Musk,
episode on.
because
Yeah.
there's so much to be said, and I'm not going to go into it now, but I'm going to say he disappointed me because he's full of shit. because he
We
was
were talking about
talking.
him yesterday, and you said the total opposite.
Nope, I got cut off in the middle of the sentence, and then the conversation moved on.
okay.
Because he has a lot to be said and positive about him, but the bottom line is his time frames and all that are very unrealistic. But he actively misled about the self-driving. Like that wasn't a mistake. That wasn't overly optimism, which he's guilty of a lot. That was deliberate misleading, where he was like, "Oh yeah, it's at this point." There was a video released which I saw about 6 or 7 years ago now, which blew my mind, of a car just driving around the city. Fake. It was a real car really driving, but it was on a pre-programmed course. But they made out that it wasn't pre-programmed. This was the car autonomously making all these decisions, and no, it wasn't.
Well,
That's active misleading. So, Elon Musk says 2 years. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, what's interesting is just to close off on this Elon Musk thing. So the Elon Musk had this show where he was showing off the new car, and at this show he was showing off Optimus. You know, the robots that they have. And,
that is amazing.
And the robots are amazing, but they did this thing where, like, Marcus Brownlee was there. I don't know if you.
Sorry, Optimus. Does it turn into a small van?
No.
And then self-drives itself.
Because I'm thinking, like, you know, if it was a big lorry or a big huge truck, you'd probably call it something different, like Optimus Prime or something. But this is
Optimus Mini. No. But what's happening is Optimus was able to serve people drinks and stuff, which is what I would not be surprised if that robot could do.
Yeah.
Okay.
but could it bend a bar?
Probably
No, that's
could.
the Bender model.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
But the problem is the robot was just talking like I'm talking now, but with a computer generated voice modulator. In other words, is it Elon Musk doing the same thing again of just literally getting someone to talk to a microphone?
No. I'm sure not.
This are you sure? Marcus Brownlee was saying that this is what he thought, and other engineers and other people were saying, well, this is what we think.
I haven't actually seen that, so I can't really comment authoritatively. But
Yeah.
I would be shocked if I'd be shocked if it was that degree of misleading. Do you know what I mean? Like Elon Musk saying, "Oh, wow,
But
we're
don't
here,"
forget,
when really they weren't
these
there.
companies still want to get more people to invest all their money. Give me all your money. Look at this amazing thing we can do. No, cigarettes aren't bad for you. Invest your money. That's all it is. It's just a flim flam show to get money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there are, like, for example, if you mislead the level that your product is at and get investment based on that, that's a crime. You could seriously get in real trouble, get fined, all that kind of stuff. Unless you're really rich, then it's allowed.
Oh, well,
You got immunity.
He's really rich.
Okay.
That's it. I got nothing.
Okay, so let's move on to.
Can I say one other thing? Because I came across one other fact that I just thought would be interesting to throw out there, and then we'll move along. Because
Okay.
I wanted to ask you both. Have you heard of the Magnificent Seven of Silicon Valley? There's 7 companies that are the 7 big ones.
Okay, wait a second. It used to be PayPal, maybe, but no. It's got to be Oracle, Alphabet, Microsoft. Is that any of them?
Alphabet and Microsoft, yes. Oracle, probably yes, back in 1980.
Nvidia.
I mean today.
Nvidia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
totally.
Okay, so let me
So
see.
you got 3.
Okay, we got 3. Okay, Barry, you're 3.
Yeah, no, I can't think of.
Well,
I don't know enough about.
Think of a
Facebook.
big technical...
Facebook.
Facebook, yep, or Meta, as
Meta,
I don't know.
yeah.
Think
Meta.
of a big technical company we were talking about 30 seconds ago.
Tesla.
Oh,
There you
Tesla.
go. Yeah.
Okay, that's 5.
Yeah.
I see. I wouldn't call Tesla a Silicon Valley company. I thought they were more of.
They're
Like,
actually based in California.
yeah.
Well,
And-
honestly, I just threw in the phrase Silicon Valley, meaning kind of computery
Oh,
tech types.
I thought you were
Not
talking.
literally
I thought you were talking
out of
about
that
Elon
area.
Musk's threat that he was going to move.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm not being... so you have Alphabet, Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Meta. That's 5.
Oh
You're
my
missing 2.
God! My God, Barry, what's the most obvious one? It begins with A.
Apple.
Yep.
Okay. Now,
What's
Barry,
the
what's
other
the next
most
one?
obvious one, which also begins with A?
Oh God, no, I don't know. Adobe.
Amazon.
Yes.
Oh,
there you
Amazon.
go. Boom.
Again, I would not have called them a tech company, even though they obviously are.
Yeah. So there you go. I found it interesting when I heard that list. I was like, oh man. I tried to name them
Right.
myself, and I was really...
How much are they worth?
Oh, I have no idea.
You can't say that
anyway,
and not
no,
say how much they're worth.
that's
Damn it,
it.
I was going to say
And we're
Alta Vista.
We're going to...
Mister.
Well, let's park that there and move on to where we're here.
Here's the thing that we could talk about. We could talk about the early days of the internet. In that, we were in genuinely, literally, we were probably in the top 1% of the 1% of the world
Definitely, yeah.
that had the internet first,
Yeah.
before Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Was
In the
ordering
net.
pizza
Yeah.
in the net.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's save that topic for...
Go on, room
Again,
101. I'm going to
let's-
say, Barry, room 101, right? When you said that there and you gave the... I did not know that. When you came up with this idea and you said, hey, guys, let's just pick 3 things you'd banish from the world, I was like, wow, Barry, that is a great idea. How did you think of that?
Totally original.
I didn't
just
realise
off
it was
the top
a
of my head.
thing.
Yeah. It was a thing. It was a great show as well. It was funny. I mean, Frank Skinner is a funny man anyway, but it was a very good show. So yeah, the idea is that we've picked 3 things. We throw out one each until we've got through them all, and we have to have a unanimous decision whether or not that thing goes into room 101 or not.
And just for my clarification and the clarification of the listener, is like, this is a thing that we would banish from it would not be happening anymore.
Yeah.
But can it be like a concepty, or
It can be 100% can be a concept, and I did tell you,
or
guys
literally anything,
to try
like,
to
it
keep
can
it
be-
light.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
did
say-
that.
Oh, no,
I-
of course.
I-
Yeah.
I think that's probably trying to steer me away from like being too dark and boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want to go first?
yeah, I'll go first.
Let's go first by going one each.
Yeah.
So we'll
Oh,
go
yeah, it'll be one
cyclical.
each.
Yes,
yeah, definitely. So my first item that I have voted for, and again for the listeners, we did not discuss this beforehand. There could be repetition
You
here.
better not steal one of mine.
So the first one I've picked is, my heading for it is people who don't indicate when driving, but umbrella term, I suppose, for people that just are inconsiderate drivers. I suppose inconsiderate drivers in general, but people that don't indicate when they're driving, especially on roundabouts, annoys my tits. And the main reason for it really is that if I'm pulling up to a roundabout and the guy coming off the exit to my right doesn't indicate that they're going immediately,
You've waited
left,
for no reason.
I've had to stop for no reason, which
Yeah.
means the person behind me has had to slow down or stop for no reason. If they indicated, I could just keep going, because that's how roundabouts work. And it's little things like that, tiny little things like that, all day long, that create traffic or create more traffic. You know,
Which is called the accordion effect.
the accordion effect.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
it's
all the
worse-
traffic goes boop, boop, boop,
It's
boop,
worse
boop,
on a motorway. If there's a lot of traffic on a motorway but they're spaced out and they're all traveling at
Yeah.
the speed limit, and one person brakes, just touches his brakes, that goes 12 miles.
I'm sure you've all seen this work because I remember a few times.
does, that's a fact.
That's
I remember
mad.
driving and there's this massive, huge, big traffic jam and you're almost stopped dead.
Yeah.
And eventually you're kind of wondering, I wonder, is there a crash? Something. And eventually it just clears up and it's gone and there's nothing at all.
Someone who
You're like,
braked
what
for
the
no reason.
hell? What was the cause of this?
Yeah.
And not at some busy junction just on a bloody motorway or anything. It's like, what the?
And the other one that kind of comes in that for me is, you're sitting at traffic lights, it's red, there's 5 or 6 cars, the light turns green, and you can't go because the person in front of you doesn't go, because the person in front of them doesn't go. The guy at the front will go, the light turns green. Sometimes they're good, they'll go.
Oh.
But in theory, when the light goes green, everybody can go. And if everybody went, you'd probably get, I'd say, 20 to 25% more cars through that junction, because they wait until the other car in front of them is like 10 foot away, and then
You're
they
talking
go.
such an organised thing, Barry.
No, but it
It's
is.
like-
I'm
And
with
some
you on that one.
countries- some
I
countries,
totally agree with
if
you,
you're
but-
not going on green, even if you're 10 cars back, the guy behind number 11 is beeping at you. Because that's what they do. When the light turns green, everybody goes. And people say, oh, they drive
Wow.
crazy in that country. They don't. They drive efficiently.
But
So
I'm
that's
actually-
my first nomination
I
for Room
definitely
101.
agree with that one anyway.
Donald,
Oh, my one.
do you
No, but
agree
do
with
you
that?
agree or disagree?
I
or-
100%
Wait,
agree.
can
that,
we just agree with all of them? Is there one that you got a veto or?
No, but
You
whatever
have
you
to
think.
agree with them.
Yeah.
If you think,
Whatever,
no,
yeah.
that doesn't deserve to go into Room 101.
I would say that definitely should go.
Excellent.
Now, but wait, but
late.
do we have to choose an ultimate one?
No, you've taken your answer now. First answer.
No, well, put it this way: even if we
Ultimate
have to
one.
choose an ultimate one, that
No,
will have
yeah,
to
we
be
can do that
decided
too.
later.
Oh no,
Yeah,
we have
we
to
have to-
choose an ultimate one from the three of
Okay,
us, from
okay,
each of us,
okay.
and then we'll choose an ultimate one from that one.
Oh, GD Mac. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so next up. We keep going
Oh,
on.
sorry, of course,
Donald,
yeah, sorry.
your first one.
So here is one: loud sneezing. People who sneeze extra loud.
Okay.
I'm going to say definitely annoying. Would I waste a vote that can banish something from the earth on that specifically? And it does annoy me.
It's an interesting one. It's definitely a pet peeve type of
Yeah.
thing.
No, but even just a random, you're sitting peacefully reading a book or relaxing and enjoying life, and then someone just roars randomly. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean,
yeah, I
the
used to
situation
know someone
where
who used to do
loud
that.
sneezes are going to happen are rarely going to. I think the Venn diagram of them crossing over with you sitting, relaxing, reading the book.
Well,
I'd want to be.
No, I remember there was a guy actually I used to work with, and he would roar a loud sneeze, and it would be like, "Oh my god!" Sometimes it would make you jump out of your skin. Actually, now that I remember that, and I forgot,
But I wonder, like, I doubt there's very many people who are like, oh, I've got a sneeze coming on, better prepare my lungs so I can make it extra loud.
And yet, the few who do should be banished.
I don't know, man. I don't think they have any choice in it. I don't think people that sneeze loudly have a choice in sneezing loudly. We used to work with someone.
I think
not
that
gonna say
they
names,
do
used to
have
work
a
with someone.
choice.
Like, I mean, to be fair, when I'm at home and I sneeze, I let it go.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah.
And if I'm sneezing perfect, I try to hold it in, and it becomes this, instead of a sneeze, it becomes more like spaz moment where you just literally like your entire body is convulsing, trying to not to make any noise. But man, I don't know about that one though. I don't know.
I'm going to say, I mean, they annoy me, but maybe it's just the lack of frequency in my life. I don't know I'd use a vote to banish something out of the world on that.
Yeah, like my one, for example, I go through 3 roundabouts a couple of times a day, every day. And the amount of times I have to stop because...
Yeah, the
someone is
frequency of
litigating.
meeting that in your life, definitely.
It's-
I don't
it's
even
a
drive a lot. And
But the sneezing thing, I don't know, man. It's...
Let's just say we're going to hold on to that vote and maybe use it on something else.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have a limit on our votes. But
Actually, okay. What if you happen to live with someone who kind of had allergies, and then every now and again they sneezed really suddenly loud in the morning?
just out of
Are you talking about someone you know? Is this person's name?
Maybe they know who they're talking.
I mean, again, to banish it to room 101.
Oh, now I
don't
get
know.
that concept of, yeah.
I think I agree, Mark. Let's hold on. Let's
Yeah.
not vote on that yet.
Okay.
I'd be holding back. I'd be holding back.
Okay,
Mark's
Mark.
first one.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to go, Barry, and I'm going to
Go
kind
really
of
heavy.
ruin your philosophy of just keeping this light and keeping it a bit of fun. I have to.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you remember a couple of episodes ago, I said I listened to an author called Annie Jacobson who wrote a book called Nuclear War, A Scenario. And she talked on Lex Friedman's podcast and genuinely scared the hell out of me about just the terror of the potential of nuclear war. So I had to read the book, and I did.
What? You read the book?
Oh yeah. Although actually, I should say
Wait,
because
you listened to the audiobook?
yeah,
or you
Rachel
read-
always calls me on that one. Is it read a book when you just listen to a book?
No, I listened to the book.
Yeah, I
I
listened
say
to the book.
listen to the book, but
Well-
the same person that does this really loud sneeze also says read the book
Well-
when they listen to an audiobook.
I listened to the book, and I will say, firstly, to all of our listeners and to ye, I would say, read it or listen to it. It's a really good book, but it's really scary. All it does is it goes through.
7
It's
minutes.
It's a fake scenario of that. It's a fictional book that she wrote about. Hey, fake scenario, nuclear war happened, but in it she's putting in, because she's this researcher and journalist or something about nuclear threat, who puts it all in a book. So everything in the book is realistic, and you start realizing, oh my god. And when you start realizing how no one person decides, I'm going to end civilization, it's just this chain reaction just happens and goes out of everyone's control. Anyway, then I read another book. You know Dan Carlin, the hardcore
Yeah.
history guy? He wrote a book called, I can't remember what it's called, At the End of the World or somewhere, kind of, where all the different ways the world could end. And I read more about nuclear stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I'm actually really scared about nuclear weapons now all of a sudden. So I would say, if you could banish one thing out of the world, nuclear weapons.
That's
It's
pretty
just,
heavy.
it creates a threat that's going to end civilization for no reason.
I mean, you can't argue with that. You gotta say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, nuclear
I'm
weapons.
gonna argue against it. I think
See, this is the problem. If nuclear weapons go, do nuclear power plants go? All the free energy out of that.
He's only doing that now because we didn't vote on his one.
This is like
no.
It's like the
Eurovision Song Contest. Oh, not giving me 12 points. I'm only giving you 0
okay,
points.
well, okay, wait. I will say this much. Okay, I would genuinely. It's one of the things. If we do a bucket, we should do a bucket list one of these.
because you're facing to and from the
Sorry.
yeah.
We should do a bucket list one of these because what I would love to see the most in my life is see a nuclear bomb go off.
No, well, that would be the most thing I would hate to see in my life ever, even as a test.
No, I wouldn't want. Did you know that loads of actors and crew died from a movie because they filmed in a place very close to where nuclear testing went off? Including John Wayne.
What?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the movie. It was some Western. 240 crew, something like, I can't remember what the number is.
Oh,
but
there's
over
loads of examples though, of They did it. Hey, let's do a nuclear test here, and there's like people on an island 50 miles away that they, even when they were doing these testing, they didn't know how big the explosion would be, where the fallout would go. None of that stuff. Yeah. That's the whole point of doing the test, especially in the early days. And loads of people died.
If nuclear war happens, it's going to kill lots and lots of cute little puppies. Donald, why do you want to kill puppies?
Yeah, Donald.
Because you'll have gathered
this bit will be extracted
data
and put on a soundbite in some short.
You got to think the science. It's like
for science.
Here, do you know the thing, by the way, about the people blowing up ages away, like people dying from nuclear blasts ages away, and the Bikini?
Bikini Atoll, the place where they did the test. Yeah.
And that's where the Bikini comes from, the name Bikini.
Is it from the island?
The nuclear blast blew their clothes off them.
Is that kind of
left one strip up here, one strip down there?
Yeah.
Is that
No, wait. So an atoll is basically the top of a volcano. Basically, so it's usually a circle type of thing. Okay, that's really, really old. Okay, but when they were in the after World War II, and then the research into nuclear bombs picked up and went really big time into nuclear research. The place to be if in the scientific community was like, he's like, oh man, I have a job at the Bikini Atoll. But then, because I take it you've seen Oppenheimer. Okay.
Funny enough, I have not seen Oppenheimer yet.
Basically, if all the scientists that were there would have wives and everything, but it became this really cool party place. You were away from society. You were like 1,000 kilometers away from society type of thing. So there used to be loads of drinking, loads of dancing on the beaches and all this kind of thing. And
but just by like loads of nerds.
All the cool people weren't there.
Yeah. But then a new piece of clothing was invented, the bikini, and they were like, what do we call this? And they said, oh, we'll name it after the hippest, coolest place at the moment on Earth, the Bikini Atoll.
Oh.
It's a good thing they didn't invent it in Shanawach.
No.
Okay, so I think nukes was a bit of an unfair one.
No.
I vote to room 101 nukes, definitely.
Although Donald wants to keep them.
No, you see, the thing is, like...
I would say, Donald, listen to that book.
No, wait.
Anyway.
I have a question about room 101 in that case. Okay. Does this mean it'll never come back?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Let's say yeah.
And what about nuclear energy?
Nuclear energy is not... Mark talked about nuclear bombs.
I mean, I guess you see, if you get rid of the nuclear technology, then does that,
No, you didn't
now,
say
now we're messing with
technology.
the timeline. We're going too deep.
You didn't say
Keep
nuclear technology. You said nuclear bombs.
Okay.
So we keep nuclear power because
it's like it's
that's a good thing.
Of course, in that case, yeah, I will say, but I'm very iffy about it.
Okay.
Begrudgingly, I would get rid of nuclear bombs.
It definitely makes my next one really...
Okay, my next ones will be normal.
Okay, so back to me, and my next one is wasps.
Wasps?
The little pricks.
Oh, I thought you were talking about white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
No, but they're little pricks, literally and figuratively. I hate wasps. I hate them. Like a bumblebee will come up, or a big fat bee, not body shaming bees, but the little fat guys. They don't bother me. I'm just like, oh, there's a bee. A wasp will come up, and I get this primal urge to just kill it.
Well,
until it dies of it.
I'm gonna say I'm not agreeing with this one unless you can sell it to me, because one thing that bothers me about wasps, right? A wasp will fly near me, and I don't care. And the wasp doesn't care, and he goes about his day, and I go about my day, and there's no big deal. And then some idiot beside me will be like, wasp, and start trying to swap the wasp.
Yeah, Martin,
and
exactly.
Whack
I'm
him
the
and
idiot.
fling the wasp up against me, and now the wasp is pissed off because he just got slapped in the face, and he's going to sting the next person he hits up against. And it's like, what are you doing? Stop.
Well, that's me. That's what I would do. I would hit it towards another person perfectly, because then if they do sting, they're not going to sting me.
No, well, I'm okay with wasp. Wasps are cool. Look, they're assholes. But you know what?
They're a pest.
No, do you know, if I was going to pick like a little bug, creepy, crawly, flying asshole, I would say flies. I'm not using my vote on flies, by the way, but I would sooner say flies than wasps.
I would sooner say
flies. Flies are gross and carry disease. Wasps are
gross carry disease, but they don't sting you like over and over again.
Barry, I gotta say, did a wasp ever sting you?
I think yes, I've been stung a couple of times by wasps, possibly bees. I'm not sure. I've been stung a couple of times.
I remember once when I was a kid.
I was gonna just tell the story. One time when me and Donald were kids, I remember this, and this must be like we were kids.
Yeah.
Well, we're down in the room, and Donald was putting on his shoes. We were going to go out, and he just suddenly threw his shoe up against the ceiling and burst out crying and ran out of the room. And I was just like, "Well, what happened? And then I went up and checked. There was a wasp in his shoe, and it stung him in the foot.
He's laughing.
Well, it was funny. Well, like, you know, when you're a bigger brother and something like that happens to your small
man.
brother, that's
I
funny.
remember
See, for
that
me,
so
I would
well.
make sure that wasp died. If I find a wasp, the wasp was like even flies. If they come into my house, I'm like, I'm opening the window. I'm like, go on, fly, get out of here. Whereas a wasp, I'm like, you motherfucker, you're dead. You came into the wrong house, and I will do my damnedest to kill that bloody thing.
Barry, on my quick little research I'm doing here on the internet of what are wasps good for, I asked, and it said vital role.
Absolutely nothing.
Wait,
Say
well,
it again.
wait. We gotta assume, right, that there's a kind of this is like when Q gave that wish to Captain Picard in Star Trek. It's like, sure, timeline repercussions. Let's just wave a magic wand and say whatever you disappear won't break
are
the
we-
food chain
okay,
and you
is
know
that
all
alright?
the unknown repercussions. You
Okay.
got to do that, or else
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't.
Oh, okay. In
so,
that case,
yeah.
screw you, internet.
Nice
Yeah.
try, Donald. With
So
your
you're
facts
both,
and your
but
knowledge.
you're both voting against wasps.
No, I'm
think-
totally okay with wasps.
I'm
I'm,
okay with
absolutely and
I don't like them, by the way. I'm not a big fan of wasps, but
like the funny,
you're
the
a
funny
wasp
thing,
lover, I can
the
tell.
funny thing about wasps is I was even on Throw yesterday, like walking Clover, and this wasp just kind of came out of nowhere at this time of the year, and he was like started flying around me. Barry, I see now you would have hated this.
Yeah,
He
I'd have
kind
killed
of
him. He'd be dead now.
well, he was starting kind of to fly around, and he was flying around my face for some reason. Oops, he was flying around
He's
my.
starting. They throw shapes. They come up to you and they're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Then you just ignore them. What are you going to do?
But I tried to ignore it, and then he just kind of I thought he was gone, and he was gone for a good 5-6 seconds. Then he was at the bottom of my jacket. Then he was kind of flying around. So I can see what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I just don't agree.
They taunt you.
That,
It's
They're
different.
like,
that
go on.
I wouldn't put them into room 101.
They're dicks.
That's a
They're
noisy
pricks.
room 101.
Yeah.
sorry, Barry, you're on your own with that
All
one.
right, okay, Donald, your second one.
This one, everyone will agree with. Speed vans.
Oh dear.
You know,
Oh dear.
I have mixed feelings on this, and I'll tell you why. I do agree with some degree of enforcement of rules of the roads, and you know, if everywhere was just the autobahn, that's not good either, right? But I will say, yes, I agree with you. They should be banished. They should be banished from the earth and then reinvented as a new thing.
Replaced.
Yes, because what drives me mad is you have a 4-lane highway near Galway City, and it's a 50-kilometre limit, and then you've got like a tiny, crappy country road that's 80 kilometres. And of course, they're not going to put the speed vans somewhere where there's an accident black spotter in it. They're going to put the speed vans where there's the, you know, fish in a barrel kind of thing. Everybody who drives, who's listening to this, knows what I'm saying, so I don't need to belabor the point. I agree with that one.
Barry?
But only to be replaced with something better.
Yeah. They have to be replaced because I think deterrence for people speeding is definitely a good thing because people speeding is definitely dangerous. So I think in that regard, speed vans do serve a purpose.
But
like you
revisit
said,
what speeding is.
Yeah, but what you said, put them in the right place. Don't be putting them in like where they're just going to make money or whatever. So
You see-
I'm begrudgingly agreeing with you. The speed
You
vans,
see,
as they stand.
Here's the thing. Get rid of them and replace them with education.
Yeah.
It's like, why should you not speed?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It's like, would you believe it? I was never caught with a speed van. Anyone who
But
knows
that's
me.
just because you're lucky, right?
No, it's not lucky. I've learned the 5 or 6 spots. Okay, I am kind of
Well,
lucky.
that's because they always go in the same place, which is
They go in
also
the same
right.
space.
On your main drive.
On my main drive, they go in the same space. And then all I have to do is like, if there's one in Berna, and if I'm driving home at night, I'm like, oh, there's the one in Berna. I can literally burn rubber all the way out to Carrow now.
The very first episode of Sequest DSV.
Oh, wow.
There's a blast from the past.
Yeah, the main actor, the guy from Jaws, what was his name? Roy Schneider.
Yeah.
Was on his motorbike going to his new posting on Sequest, and he was bombing along on his motorbike, and the speed cameras that were built into the street lights or something, or telephone poles or something, scanned his driver's license or his what do you call it, registration plate on the motorbike, and he heard automatically in his ear, he heard, caught speeding, 50 credits deducted from your bank balance, and it was just like that, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a future we're definitely going to.
Yeah, that like if you replace speed vans with that.
But see, I think, honestly, I would be 100% in favour of speed vans and all these regulations if they implemented sensible speed limits on various roads for various reasons. Because I think that's what's really annoys me. It's like, oh, I'm going to go through a 50-kilometre zone now because it's a school. but it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
No kid is going to come out of the school at 3 a.m. Make them dynamic, make them
And we have the
sensible.
technology that we can do that. Do you know
All
what I mean?
of this technology is there.
Solar powered signs that could just change as they need to.
Exactly.
You know, all that kind of stuff. We could do
It
that, yeah.
just exists.
Anyway, yes.
So
Push the
gone.
button on that one.
Yay!
Speed vans go into room.
Speed vans are gone. What a brilliant world.
I know.
Okay. My one is one that doesn't really affect our lives, but I'm going to say it because I watched the movie Back in Black with Amy Winehouse.
Okay.
About Amy Winehouse, I should say, on Netflix. I don't know if you watched it. No. And it's interesting because I watched a documentary about Amy Winehouse before, and it showed a lot of focus on her father being all mean and everything. This one was a totally different angle of the same story. So anyway, one thing that definitely I took away from it is like, the world should just get rid of the paparazzi. And this is something that they could get
Is this
rid
your
of.
thing? The
Yeah,
paparazzi?
that's it.
Oh
Paparazzi.
man, 100%.
Ban it. And the argument goes, yes, but then, you know,
Free speech.
free speech and taking photographs of famous people. Yeah, no. Make some kind of law. Like if somebody walked up to me on the street and started taking loads of photographs of me, I wouldn't really care, but I wouldn't be happy about it either. Somebody walked up to take photos of my kids. Well, I don't have any, but you know, there's a line, there's a limit, there's all these things. Make a law.
There is, but when you're out in public, you can't have any expectation of privacy. But taking pictures of people in their gardens or when they're on the beach. I mean, I know the beach is public, but it's still.
But I think when you're out in public, you can have some degree of expectation of privacy. If someone goes and takes a photograph of you, come on, that's allowed. But if there's a dozen people waiting outside your gate for you to step onto the public street so they can just start taking 1,000 photographs, I don't know how, but you can make a law about that.
yeah. Paps.
It's
awful.
It's an easy one. I don't see anyone who's going to think that the paparazzi
No.
are a good idea. Get rid of them.
But and I suppose tied into that is this thing that society has for wanting to know what celebrities do. I don't care.
Well,
Even my favorite musicians, artists, actors, anything, whatever, I don't really care what they do in their personal lives. I want to know when's the next movie, album, whatever it is, piece of music coming out.
100% agree. Yeah, that's I
That's all.
100%
Thing is-
agree. Yeah.
I'm with you as well, Barry. Exactly. I don't care. But I do agree that there's a space in the world for people who do care and let them have their fun, let them have their hobbies and their interests, and that can be done without ruining people's lives just because they're
I
famous.
mean, that's what red carpets are there for, and that's what like
You know, yeah,
official
and
openings are for, and that's what
allow
all
a
this is.
certain degree. I think
Yeah.
you're right, Barry. When you are famous and there's a certain degree where, you know, your fame comes with a certain amount of intrusion and all that, a certain amount.
Yeah.
But
But
I
a
think
certain
there's
amount.
some kind of
There
an
definitely
obvious
has to
line
be-
that you can draw a limit
yeah,
on and say,
there
right,
has
it's
to
just
be.
illegal.
But
over that.
100%,
I'm
yeah,
with you.
100%, yeah,
If we had a
100%.
button, I'd press it.
If I had a button, Barry, and if I could really do it, I would get all the paparazzi and put them in the flaming wherever room 101 is, and let them all be eaten by the wasps.
No, but
The wasps aren't in there, thanks to you.
Oh damn it!
they'll die of radiation poisoning from all the nukes.
Nuclear. They'll be nuked.
Okay, Barry, what's your
My
final
last one is, and this is kind of heavy, it's not as light as the other stuff, but it's litter. Litter is just a bugbear of mine because it's so needless.
Yeah, okay. I have
It's so needless. You finished your sweet, you take the wrapper and stick it in your pocket if there's no bin nearby and bring it home and throw it in a bin there. Finish your drink, same thing. Just hold it in your hand till you see a bin or bring it home. Or, recycle it. Great. Use the return thing. And that's it, simple. Don't be a douche nozzle, bring your rubbish home.
But when you say now, Barry, get rid of rubbish, you'd put rubbish there.
No, get rid of littering.
Littering.
Or get rid of littering.
Littering.
I mean, I suppose you can't disagree with that, but I would say it's
Wait, he's
no,
trying.
but no, I would say because all you need is it's just education. That's like
Honestly, no.
getting
No, but
getting-
it's,
no,
not, it's not about education. This is about room 101. If we take it and stick it in room 101, that's it. No more. Nobody's going to litter anymore. They're going to be educated, or they're going to be.
Well, I think for starters, our default is we're agreeing with you. I think Donald is, but I think because it's kind of triggering. It's like, why? Because I'm sure 99% of people don't litter. But then, like, I walk Ghost and Willow in the park and I see, like, a coffee cup and the lid just thrown on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like, the bin is literally 10 meters away.
Yeah.
And maybe the person who was here didn't know that bin was there, but then bring it to your car. I just don't understand how someone in good conscience throws something on the green grass, trash. And I don't understand. And there's other people around, surely, when they did it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I would love to understand the mentality of that person who does it.
When I used to work in the bars, and I worked in town in the bars, and like you drink after hours or whatever. Never broke the law, but for whatever reason you're walking uptown ridiculously early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. You're heading uptown, and you walk through Air Square, and it was like a war zone. It was just like Supermax packaging and Abracadabra at the time, and a few other places just scattered everywhere. And Air Square is full of bins.
I'm not defending this, right? But
sounds like you're defending it.
Yeah.
now just about to
the
defend.
World's biggest
It's like,
Amy Winehouse fan.
when like I it's not right, but if outside Supermax at 3 a.m, there's loads of burger wrappers on the ground, every person there was drunk.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm not giving them a pass, right? But they kind of know they're already drunk. They kind of know that the rubbish collectors are going to come by and sweep the streets.
But the thing is, I've been drunk loads of times.
Yeah, me too. By the way, me too. I agree. Yeah.
And when I finish my food, do you know what I don't do? Throw the bloody wrappers on the ground. I put them in a bin.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you there. And by the way, just to be clear, when I defend these people, I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think it's different to drunkenly throw trash on the street when there's trash everywhere and the streets are going to get swept in a few hours. I think it's different to throw trash in the forest.
So, by that rationale, Mart, if I know that if
you're drunk in the forest?
Well, you see, it's still the forest. Do you know what I mean? There's multiple factors combined which makes it slightly less bad to me.
To test what you're saying there.
Also, does it make noise?
Yeah.
Right, let's say I see a street cleaner is coming up, and the street cleaner has emptied this bin. Okay, sits into his little car, drives up to the next bin. If I know, he's just going to clean, there's rubbish on the street, and I see him sweeping up the rubbish on the street.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say no, that's not.
Can I just get trashed and just throw it down beside?
In fact, that's probably worse. When someone's actively
that's
sweeping the
literally
street,
what's happening
so you
outside
throw it
Supermax.
at his feet because it's
That's literally what's happening outside Supermax, except that it's more delayed outside Supermax.
No, and I know. I'm just saying, I do think there's varying degrees of wrongness in it. It just really, I get bothered when I see trash on the ground, but I get a million times more bothered when I see it in the park or in the woods, because it's like, come on.
Question.
What about
This will never get swept. This will never get cleaned. So you threw that there and it's going to be there forever. Even the beach is incredibly bad, but the sea is going to take it away.
The sea's going to put it somewhere. It's
going to be in the sea. It still exists.
There's a trash island in the sea that's as big as Texas or something.
Yeah, and that's a bad thing.
That's bad. Thank you. That's a bad thing.
I agree.
You're doing the whole, peekaboo. I can't see you, therefore I don't exist.
Just to be clear now, because I'm realizing I'm entrenching myself into a
you
position
definitely
of defending
are,
this. Whereas I absolutely agree with you.
Okay.
Littering should be
All right, let's
banished
leave it at
forever.
that.
No, wait. Can I ask one thing just before I agree fully?
Yeah.
Okay. With this, if I was the last person on Earth, and I had a Mars bar, and I had a trash paper from the Mars bar, and the bin was like all the way over at the other side of the room, and I was going to leave this room of this building, and I was literally going to never come back. Because why would I? There's a million other
honestly,
buildings.
I'd give you a pass if you're the last person or not, even if you're in the room and you're going to stay in the room.
Barry?
I mean,
No, put it in the bin.
really?
Yeah, don't be it's right there.
But it's the end of the world and humanity's over. Yeah. It's like, did you ever watch that movie Children of Men?
Yes.
Really
What
good.
a flaming depressing
Kind of
film.
showing, it's depressing, but when it just kind of shows like when there's no future, what's the point of things?
Well, yeah, but I mean, don't let your standards slip.
Okay.
Nice.
Respect, Barry, to the diligence.
I would say,
I can't believe you're actually considering
Yeah, I
this
know,
so
yeah.
much.
me.
Yeah.
I spent ages defending it, and I still vote to banish it.
And what are my choices?
Hashtag
Yes or
not
no?
defending it.
Oh, yes or no.
What are my choices?
I would say, get rid of it, but it's reluctant.
Why? Why do you want littering?
Well, I want to be able to litter.
Do you litter?
Like I would say I litter, yeah. I'm not.
What? Really?
Stop being a douche
Wait,
nozzle.
would you
Stop
throw
littering.
trash? Wait, would you throw trash in the beach?
No, definitely not.
Would you throw it in the woods?
Definitely
Would
not.
you throw it in the park?
Definitely not.
Where would you litter then?
Outside Supermax.
No, I just-
in the morning.
The only person who doesn't actually drink. I mean,
Everybody else is doing it. Woo!
okay, I think we were all with you on this one anyway, Barry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Don't look your last.
What was my
Crazy
last
answer
one there
from
again?
Donald.
Okay. I've written music too loud. Now, This is I'm 48. Okay, so maybe this is the 48-year-old
No.
me.
It's not. If I'm thinking about, if you're talking about the same thing I'm thinking you're talking about.
Yeah, in pubs.
Oh no.
Oh.
I thought you meant like someone on public transport.
Oh no,
with their
that kind of
music.
thing. But that's what I said. Music and loud in general. It's like music is a personal thing. Okay, I think.
You're a big fan of the silent discos.
No. Music is a personal thing.
Yeah, but let's say you have a house party and there's a bunch of people over.
That's
You
different.
want to pump
Yep,
up the
that's
volume.
different. I'd be like, I'm absolutely okay with that. Now,
But music too loud in pubs is definitely an old person thing.
oh yeah, well,
Can't hear yourself think about it.
I specifically mean music too loud in pubs.
Okay.
You
But
do
that's
in
no
pubs.
wait. It's like there's a hierarchy of stupidness, and music too loud in pubs is the most stupid. It's like who was I out with? I was out with some group, and we were in a pub, and the music was just flaming, just ridiculously loud.
I mean,
okay,
I mean, there is ridiculously too loud where you literally can't talk to someone. In
Well,
a pub, especially in a nightclub,
that's what I
you
mean.
don't expect.
that's what-
no,
say.
no,
Yeah.
nightclub
I
is
feel-
different. Nightclub is different.
I feel this is nuanced, and I'll tell you why. For me, anyway, a night out, back in the day when I used to do them, had its phases, right? The early phase, you sit down, quiet pint, you're talking to your friends. Then the next phase, you're getting a bit loud, the conversation isn't as serious now, and whatever, and mess it. Then the next phase is, you're drunk, let's dance. Now, if you're in phase 2, you want the music a certain louder. If you're in phase 3, you want it too loud, as Donald would say. But depending on what your phase you're at and what phase other people are at in the same pub,
There may be a.
a discrepancy. But I agree. Like, if I go to a pub, it's just, and if you're like, you've just landed, get a pint, sit down and catch up with a friend you haven't talked to in ages, and you want to have a quick, quiet chat, and if the music's so loud you have to roar, then yes, that's annoying.
And like you, I haven't gone out to a pub in a long time. I don't know how it goes nowadays with the young folk and all that. But when I worked in a pub, in the evening time, say after 6 o'clock, the music volume got turned up a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And it stayed at that level from, say, about 6:30 until the band came on. And when the band came on, obviously the band were up another level. So
to
when I used to
11.
go out, one of the last times I was out was in Sally Long's, one of my favourite pubs in Galway.
Quality.
And again, you go in there and they have a jukebox and you can pick the music you want to hear sometimes. And other times they're just playing music from behind the bar and it's great. Excuse me. So it's at a nice volume. You can go in and meet and sit at the bar and have a few pints and it's great. And then if they have a band, when they kick off, it's much louder. And yeah, 100% that's the way it should be. And I like the phases idea
Okay,
as well. So
but Barry,
brilliant.
the loudest
But
phase.
I
Sorry, go
actually
on.
agree with Donald. If the pub is playing, say, band level volumes at, say, 7:30 or 8 o'clock, at a time where you want to be meeting and chatting,
But the old thing is, vote with your wallet, go somewhere else.
yeah, you walk out the door.
And the problem is music too loud. That is so subjective.
Yeah.
That I don't see, and I know even that we have magical rules around how to implement this, where you wave your magic wand and that thing disappears, but all the associated stuff doesn't disappear. Even within the parameters of those conditions for banishing something, I don't know how you could banish music too loud, because we could be sitting at the table, the three of us, and you're saying turn it up, Barry, and Donald's saying it's too loud, and I'm saying this is perfect. How would you
How do you
fix that?
find the Goldilocks volume?
Well, here's how you find the Goldilocks volume. Yeah, you're sitting together at a table, and a table in a pub, so it's 600 mil across. Okay, 2 feet across.
Okay.
And you're both leaning in over your pint or your drink or whatever. So your faces are actually, let's say, 300, like a foot from each other. Let's
Enough
say.
for one spaghetti strand to be between you.
Yes. One spaghetti strand, and you still can't hear because the dumbass, insecure, useless DJ.
If there is a DJ.
The one I'm thinking of was specifically there was a DJ. He would walk up, turn up the volume on the microphone, on the speaker. One of the group I was in would turn down the volume on the speaker. Then he would come up and turn it up again.
What kind of place were you in where the speakers in the public area of the pub were controllable by people in the pub? That sounds
And also-
really weird.
If I was a DJ and some asshole would mess with my settings, I'd be like, right, I am going to ramp this up and annoy that person.
I'm just can't get over the fact.
Even
that
though, sorry for
members of
calling
the
the
public
purple-
can actually
yeah.
change the volume.
This was.
I don't
this
mean,
was,
by the way, that your friend was an asshole.
No,
I'm
no.
just saying
This was the
from
pub.
The perspective
this
of
was the pub beside Monroe's. I think, although it's the other piece of Monroe's, but there's a
naming and
little.
shaming.
There's a little pizzeria in the middle type of
Watch
thing.
the stocks go down for this pub now, and all our listeners ban it.
The other way Monroe's, you go into Monroe's and you walk through. The other way, there's the street. There was an open. It was during summer, so they clearly wanted to kind of like get people in from the outside. Okay, but it's like in that case, have the speaker that's near the window that's pointing outside. Have that nice and loud. Don't have it equally as loud on the inside. You thick idiot.
Okay, we're getting lost in the weeds here.
Yeah,
and
very
into
much so.
specific. Let's just say, Barry, your thoughts. Music too loud, banish. Yay or nay?
And are we saying music too loud in pubs or music too loud?
well, this is your thing.
This is
Or
your
what are
thing.
you saying? Are you saying
Well,
just in pubs?
okay.
What
no,
are you
wait.
trying to ban?
Here's-
what are you
here's-
sending to room
Okay,
101?
here's what I'm sending to room 101. The condition, this is why I'm asking how physical or metaphysical or things does this have to
be
be?
specific,
So,
Muzzy.
so there are times when music is too loud. So let's say I'm listening, let's say there's a funeral and in a funeral home.
And there's
Okay.
a pick DJ playing it so loud.
And the poor widow keeps turning it down. He comes over and turns it back up again.
No, but let's say it's like there's a you know the way there could be like quiet organ music or something.
And she starts playing like in the Vida.
But let's say it was so loud that you all you could focus on was okay. That's an example, but
No.
but
Try to
also
high level it though, without examples. What are
Okay.
you banishing to room 101?
the condition where people don't understand. If I turn this up, literally the conversation will stop.
Okay.
Where the purpose of the music is, that it's there because the people are there for conversation.
Okay. Well, I guess within those specific parameters.
Because when you go to a nightclub,
can
the
argue with
idea is
that?
dance
Yes.
or flaming snog, not flaming talk.
yeah.
Yeah, talking's for wimps,
You know?
nerds on Bikini Atoll.
Okay.
I will press the button on that.
Yay!
I will, since
Button.
you've elaborated it so
Yeah.
specifically, I
In
agree.
that incredibly
Banish.
specific
Yes.
scenario.
It's not as specific, it's so common.
It's yes, but
You've got our vote.
Okay, I've got the vote. Okay.
Mart's last one.
Okay, the last one for me, and I'll admit, I got totally stuck. I couldn't think of any other one. And I thought about this for a while since you said it, and I still couldn't think of any other one. So I asked Rachel, and she came up with a great one. Lying.
What?
It's a good one because it's actually questionable if it is a good idea.
Yeah, it's also, I was going to say, very questionable.
But, banish lying to room 101. And what I really like about this suggestion...
it's not going to go there.
Well, what I like about this suggestion is it's not completely in the realms of fantasy. I'm sure you know of Elon Musk's Neuralink. Basically, a microchip in your brain that your brain can basically wirelessly talk to technology and move mice and keyboards and play video games and stuff just with your brain.
Yeah.
That's existing now. So I can imagine a few generations of that technology down the line where you're basically going to be able to interface instead of saying, hey, I'm going to, look up stuff on my phone. You'll have access to the internet directly from the Wi-Fi chip in your brain. You can just look it up and you'll have a gigabit bandwidth and pull all the information down and dump it right into your brain straight away. Maybe your brain won't be able to process it that fast, but you'll be able to interface and access the bits you need. So instead of Googling something on a device, you're Googling something in your head.
To the end of pub quizzes.
And imagine, but imagine being able to communicate instead of, oh, wait while I say all these words and then you hear all the words through your ear and then translate those into, nope, I will just send data to the chip in your brain and your brain receives that information immediately. Once that technology exists and we're on the way, it's already being invented and already implemented to some degree. I'm not saying it'll happen in my lifetime, but it'll definitely happen and definitely soon, unless we wipe ourselves out with nuclear bombs. We're talking, all you need to do is put in some kind of a filter where you can't transmit as true anything that your brain knows is false. It is possible to make a system where a person can't lie. Now, you might say, let's implement it, but don't leave that auto-enabled for everyone. But if you're running for politics and you say, hey, I'm going to clean up the streets, yeah, turn that filter on in your brain. We have a reader that can see that that filter is on. And when you say this, do you believe it?
Automatic fact checking.
Automatic fact checker and instant honesty forcing. It's technologically conceivable, possibly within our lifetimes, that this could exist. So
I can see. Say you are a politician and you've already run for office. You've won your election. You're in power, and and something happens where there's like some sort of espionage thing is involved, and a journalist at a press conference says, "So was that man a spy?" And under intelligence rules, you don't say, well, yeah, you have to say yes, he is, because that's the truth, and that's what's been enabled now. And then suddenly that spy is goosed.
I mean, yeah, okay, that's. I don't know how maybe you couldn't have spontaneous interviews anymore where random questions come at you. You need to know the questions so that you're ready to answer them. But still, you present a politician with a list of questions that you want answers from them on, and they come out and they will give the answers for sure, or say, I'm refusing to answer question 26 for national security reasons. And if question 26 is, are you really going to fund the hospital? Come on, I'm calling bullshit on that answer.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah, okay, but to get a little bit heavy, because this is where I would see it, is what if then there's a woman at home and she gets the children's allowance, okay, and she saves the children's allowance, and then the drunken husband comes home and he's like, where's the money? And she's like, oh, the money is in the shoebox that's at the bottom of the back of the wardrobe.
Yeah, that's bad. It's a bad circumstance. But it's really bad? It's not bad that she told the truth. It's bad that she's in that circumstance.
Yeah, but according to the laws we made earlier on, this can't have a ripple back effect.
No, well, exactly. What I was going to say is, even if we leave aside the technological implementation of this or the hypothetical potential realism of it, let's just say, snap your fingers, every lie is now impossible. It's like, the movie with Ricky Gervais, Invention of Lying.
Yeah, the Invention of Lying, yeah.
We live in a community, in a world where everyone can only tell the truth.
Yeah. Well, if
or
that
everyone
were the
can
case,
see into everyone else's mind.
Again, if we're narrowing the focus down like that and specifying that much, then yeah, I would definitely vote for it, because we would, within a generation or two, have come workarounds and stuff for
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Initially, like, let's say one person decided, I'm going to be 100% honest. So a friend says, should I wear these shoes? And you say, no, they look awful on you. In fact, they look ridiculous also, so does the clothes you're wearing right now. Well, you're not going to have friends for much longer. But if everyone on Earth simultaneously all lost the ability to lie, or somehow all gained telepathy, where we can all just see into each other's minds and immediately see what you're thinking and what you know instantly. Yeah, you see, you'd be like, everyone on Earth would be like, oi, because everyone has something that, you don't want people to know. But suddenly, if everyone sees how normal it is that you think that someone else's clothes look stupid, oh, okay. And now that person thinks my clothes look stupid, but actually now I can see how normal that is, so that's okay too. As you say, Barry, you'll adjust. Yeah. I don't even think it would adjust.
Okay, that's actually a good point. That's actually a good point, that people would adjust eventually after.
And, a drunken husband will come in and tell the wife, where's the money? And, all this will happen.
Yeah.
But also, that woman will be out in the street talking to her friends, and her friends will see what's happening to her, and she'll see how they perceive the situation she's in, and she might be empowered to do something about it. Or the guy who's an asshole, well, his people who know him can see who he is.
Yeah.
I think it would actually make the world a better place. It would only work if everyone goes on board simultaneously. Yeah. It doesn't work if some people are and some people aren't.
Yeah. So it gets my vote.
It definitely, you've definitely turned me around, and I agree. Yeah.
I think so too. I think it would be crazy and would totally change the world, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, very good. Well, that's it. That's Room 101. That's our three things. We have to go back and revisit. What was your first one?
Mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what are your three first? Do you want to go over them?
No, we haven't voted on your one. We haven't decided, so we need to decide on that one.
Okay. So my three were loud sneezing, speed vans, and music too loud.
Loud sneezing. We hadn't voted.
Yeah, I would forgive. Well, I wouldn't forgive it, but I wouldn't necessarily feel the need to banish it.
I'm the same. Sorry, though.
Okay.
Sorry, though.
Yeah, I don't see. It's not. No. So yeah, my three were inconsiderate driving, I suppose, which made it in. Wasps, which didn't make it in, and litter, which did make it in. So there were my three.
And my three were nuclear weapons, paparazzi, and lying.
And all three made
it in. Mm-hmm. So of Barry's three, what's the one that we'd What, I don't know. Is there a way to
Are we meant to
hierarchy
pick one,
these,
or-
no?
I
it's-
think leave it as it is.
I think
yeah.
we're good. We're
Yeah.
good. We covered them.
Donald, your 3 were loud sneezing,
speed vans and music too loud.
music too loud, and we put in 2 of those, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music too loud had to be hammered in a bit of
Yeah.
reshaped, but yeah.
It was a little bit.
Oh wait, so if this were the game show, Mart would have won.
It wasn't a game show.
I mean, it's not really winning either.
I mean, the show.
It's
It was
conversing.
basically, Frank Skinner would have a guest come out, give his 3 things,
Yeah.
and Frank Skinner would decide whether to put them through or not.
Oh,
And they-
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
they
yeah.
basically-
The true winners here, Donald, are anyone who listens to this podcast.
True enough, which they can do where they listen to podcasts, but also see it on YouTube as well.
Yep.
So if you do and you like it, give it a like, give it a subscribe, throw us a comment. We'd love to hear
I
from
was
you.
just going to say, of all the episodes to comment on,
Yeah.
I'd actually really like to hear or read or see people's comments on this one.
Yeah,
Who
throw it
else-
on
who
your
else has
3 Room 101s.
Room 101s. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd love to read that.
That'd be cool. And this is something we could just really come back to in the future and have
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
3 things each. So yeah, happy days.
That's
Yeah,
it.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, and until next time.
Bye.
Boom.